Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 9. I am Francis Oyima, Edet, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu suspends Halima as NSPA National Coordinator. Akwa Ibom State Government holds special interdenominational Thanksgiving and New Year service. Plus, Turkey detains 33 accused of spying for Israel. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Hi, thanks for joining us. First in the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu has approved the immediate suspension and investigation of Halima Shehu, National Coordinator and CEO of the National Social Investment Program Agency, of alleged financial malfeasance. With the suspension and investigation into the allegations, the National Empire Program Manager, Dr. Akindele Ebunwalo, has been appointed in acting capacity as NC and CEO pending the conclusion of the investigation. Away from that, the federal government has suspended the accreditation and evaluation of degree certificates from Benin Republic and Togo. The move followed a report detailing how a degree was acquired from a university in Benin Republic in 2 months. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Education, Agustina Obilo Duru, said the report lends credence to suspicions that some Nigerians deploy nefarious means and unconscionable methods to get a degree with the end objective of getting graduate job opportunities for which they are not qualified. The ministry called on Nigerians to cease in providing information to help their committee as it seeks lasting solutions to prevent future occurrences. In the meantime, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has said that the federal government will revoke more mining licenses for other categories of defaulters this year. Alake issued the warning in his New Year message to Nigerians in Lagos. The minister said the federal government was prioritizing value addition for prospective investors in the mining sector, noting that the era of carting away Nigeria's resources was over. He also added that the mining sector would experience a major leap this year to contribute to increased gross domestic product (GDP). Recall that the federal government had revoked 1,633 mining licenses from those who defaulted in the payment of annual service fees in 2023. Meanwhile, President Tinubu has disclosed that the 2024 budget includes 100 billion naira allocation for the school feeding programs. He made the statement during the signing of the 2024 appropriation bill into law in the State House in Abuja. Tinubu stated that the provision will serve as a stimulant to encourage attendance in schools and reduce the problem of out-of-school children. The president also confirmed that the budget, christened Renewed Hope, is anchored on reducing the recurring expenditure but increasing capital expenditure. Elsewhere, the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, says automation of passport application process will begin from January 8, 2024. Nigerians will be able to apply and complete their passport application process online without human contact. Tunji-Ojo said this in Abuja during an inspection of facilities of the Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS) alongside the Comptroller General of the service, Wuraola Adekoju. He said training had started and that on January 8th the solution will be live and direct for Nigerians to have a good feel, a sweet experience based on the renewed hope of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Tunji-Ojo said the government wants to bring an end to the era of people bringing fake documents for passport application, even as he announced that the service now has document verification officers across all local government areas in the country to scrutinize passport applications in the country. In another development, former Senate President David Mack has called on President Bola Tinubu to review the country's security architecture to make it more proactive and strategic towards addressing challenges. Mack said this in a statement issued by his media advisor Paul Mume in Kano today. The former Senate President said a review will identify the loopholes and devise a means to end insecurity. According to him, the Plateau incident, in which scores of citizens were massacred, should be a wake-up call that the security challenge needs urgent attention. Move to the Green Chambers, where the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has said that the National Assembly will support the 2024 budget implementation process to ensure it delivers on its expectations to Nigerians. Abbas, who was physically present while Tinubu was assenting to the 2024 budgetary appropriation, said the President, in his address, mentioned that the promise of delivering the dividends of democracy based on the 2024 budget is not a mere promise, noting that the budget will lay the foundation of the renewed hope agenda. He said the budget is what Nigerians have been yearning for, adding that the National Assembly will work together to ensure the budget is well delivered. In a separate development, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election, Peter Obi, today paid a condolence visit to the family of the late governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, in Ibadan, Oyo State capital. Obi visited the family of the late governor, who died on December 27 in company of political economist and Labour Party chieftain Pat Otomi. In a post on his X handle, the former Anambra State governor described Akeredolu as a believer in a restructured and productive Nigeria. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has officially scheduled the by-election for Jalingo Yoro Zing Federal Constituency in Taraba State on February 3, 2024. The by-election is necessitated by the passing away of the elected member for the constituency shortly after the 2023 general election, Ismaila Yusuf Mahangchi. At the time of filing this report, 6 out of the 8 aspirants jostling for the position from the various political parties are from the People's Democratic Party (PDP). Although the leadership of the INEC in the state were not available at the time of filing this report to speak on the level of preparation. From that, days after the Delhi attacks that claimed over 190 lives in Plateau State, governors of the North Central region today visited Governor Caleb Mutwang. Governors that were physically present included Hashint Alia Benue, Abdullahi Sule Nasarawa, Umaru Bago Niger. However, Governors Yahaya Bello Kogi and Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak Kwara were absent and no reason was given. Reports say during the visit to the Plateau State Government House, they donated 100 million on behalf of the region's governors. Plateau has been experiencing a series of attacks by non-state actors, locally called bandits, who kill people at will without being challenged by security agencies. While the state is yet to recover from the death of several people in the Christmas Eve attacks on Bokos and Bekinladi local government areas of the state, the assailant struck again on December 31st, killing 2 persons, a father and his son. Meanwhile, the Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutwang has declared a 1 week of mourning over the recent attacks in the North Central state. Mutwang said about 200 persons were killed and scores wounded in separate attacks in the state in the last 2 weeks. While declaring the 1 week mourning period, the governor told residents of the state that flags will be flying at half-mast during the time, adding that the mourning period begins from January 1st to January 8, 2024. Elsewhere, the Nigerian Bar Association has lamented the specter of insecurity witnessed in many parts of the country in 2023. Bemoaning the state of insecurity in the country, the NBA President Yakubu Maikwao, in a statement today, urged President Bola Tinubu to give more priority to the security of lives and properties of the citizens in 2024. Maikwao also condemned the attacks on Christmas Eve in Plateau State, which led to the deaths of over 200 people. He noted that the attacks could be a result of poor intelligence gathering or a deliberate failure to act. Michael, however, called on the president to ensure that no space is left ungoverned in the country. To Ondo State now, where Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has promised to address some of the issues in the health sector of the state, saying his administration would recruit more health workers in the new year. Aiyedatiwa, who was sworn in as the governor last Wednesday after the death of late Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, also pledged to pay outstanding entitlement of the civil servants in the state. He said this today while addressing the state workers at the annual prayer organized by the civil servants to mark the first official working day of the year. Meanwhile, the State Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State has announced the suspension of the state chairman, Fatai Adams. The party alleged that the embattled chairman was involved in some anti-party activities which are against the rules and regulations of the party. This contained in a statement issued by the members of the SWC made available to newsmen today. The statement was signed by 9 members of the committee. Back here, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umoina has reiterated his commitment to sustaining the trajectory of peace and development in the state. The governor, who restated these in his remarks at the special interdenominational Thanksgiving and New Year service with the theme Arise and Shine, held at the International Christian Worship Center, Uyo, appreciated God for his mighty hands in the affairs of the state, while also expressing excitement that Akwa Ibom sons and daughters could come together to worship God irrespective of political affiliation. He restated his determination to sustaining the peace and unity in the state. Governor Eno, who used the occasion to commend his political father and immediate past governor, Dom Emmanuel, for his vision in building the worship center, assured that the place would be sustained as a worship place. He therefore announced the appointment of the field superintendent of the Apostolic Church Uyo Field, Pastor Ime George, as the prayer coordinator for the worship center.
I believe everyone coming out here makes us happy. And we trust that this Lord that we are going to serve, that God that we worship, will lead our state and lead our nation. In Jesus' name. We pray for all our Bible sons and daughters, those in the diaspora, even those who have come to live in our Bible sons and daughters. We pray that the Lord will favor us and his countenance will shine upon us.
Earlier in his speech, the immediate past governor of the state, Dom Emmanuel, had thanked God for the realization of his vision and purpose of establishing the worship center, while appreciating God for the emergence of a worthy successor in Governor Umoina. The former governor again assured that necessary support will be given to Umoina-led government to succeed.
And I believe, as a preacher of today said, that we need one mind and we must be strengthened together. The government alone will never be able to achieve all that is. May God unite all of us together and strengthen us as a people to know that our Bible is beyond one man. Today is photographs are everywhere. After 8 years, another person's photograph will come. But our Bible will remain one sense, one people, united for God's purpose. And as the leader of the nation, I think we are holding our purpose, not only for Nigeria.
Also speaking, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Abong Ekpo, has applauded the governor for his peaceful disposition and drive to unite the state, stressing that Governor Eno is the leader the state needs at this time. He therefore assured the governor of their support to his government. Government House correspondent Genoa reports that the event, which featured intercessory prayers for the federal, state and other arms of government, also witnessed prayers of thanksgiving and dedication of Akwa Ibom to God. And still to come in the news, oil prices rise. To stay with us.
for brilliant broadcasts and entertainment, sports on the go, and news from the world. Watch Spectrum TV on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and free-to-air frequency 12733. Visit our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Many thanks for staying with us, and now to the rest of the news stories. Move now to Africa, where Ethiopia government says the country has taken the first legal steps on a path that could one day enable the landlocked country to gain access to the sea. We said Ethiopia has signed what is known as a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with the self-declared Republic of Somaliland to use one of its ports. A statement by Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed noted that the agreement with Somaliland would pave the way to realize the aspiration of Ethiopia to secure access to the sea. Abiy said the arrangement could also enable Ethiopia to access a leased military base on the sea. Meanwhile, the Somaliland's President Mose Abdi said the agreement included a section stating that Ethiopia would recognize Somaliland as an independent country at some point in the future. In a related development, following an emergency cabinet meeting today, Somalia rejected a deal signed Monday between its breakaway region of Somaliland and Ethiopia. The East African country said the pact has no legal validity and would endanger regional stability. Mogadishu also summoned its ambassador to Ethiopia. Reports say the port agreement between Ethiopia and Somaliland would recognize the region as an independent nation in due course. Still in Africa, Chad's transitional leader, General Mohamed Idris Deby, has appointed long-time opposition figure Cesses Masra as the country's new prime minister. Chad's new Secretary General of the Presidency, Mohamed Al-Habor, said Masra will serve through the transition to civilian rule. Masra, who was previously a critic of the military-led government, returned from exile in November last year and backed the recent constitutional referendum spearheaded by General Deby. Moving now to Kenya, where authorities have advised motorists to use alternative routes in response to complaints about increased toll charges on the Nairobi Expressway, a 27 kilometers highway in the capital. The government has hiked the toll fees by up to 39% from $2.29 to $3.18 for the most expensive route. According to reports, the move has sparked anger in the country, with some Kenyans terming the hikes excessive. Some say the move is being imposed without public or parliamentary approval. Meanwhile, the toll hike comes amid rising cost of living and follows the increase in the cost of various other charges by the government last year. Still in Kenya, police have recovered the body of a man believed to have been attacked by a lion while he was riding a motorcycle near a national reserve in the south of the country. Police were notified by community members of an abandoned motorcycle along a road near the Marere Forest area near the Shimba Hills National Reserve. According to a police report, officers saw lion footprints that led from the motorcycle to a thicket where they found the remains of an unknown dead man. The lion population was declining in Kenya just over a decade ago, primarily due to human-wildlife conflict The government listed lions as endangered when an estimated population of 2,000 in 2010, a more recent survey put the number at 2,489. In the meantime, the heads of Sudan's warring military factions have vowed to escalate fighting against each other amid regional efforts to end the brutal conflict in the country. Army Chief Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF Commander Lieutenant General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hemeti, made the remarks on Monday during the 68th anniversary of Sudan's independence. The RSF leader pledged to protect civilians in the central state of Jizira, which his paramilitary group seized in December last year, saying those responsible for reported human rights violations would be brought to justice. For his part, General Burhan said the country's regular armed forces will be victorious and liberate Sudan from the hands of traitors and mercenaries. He ruled out the possibility of a peace deal with the RSF until the group vacates urban areas it seized in April 2023. Elsewhere, petroleum products will be less affordable for Cameroonians in 2024. President Paul Biya announced in his annual end-of-year address that prices of petroleum products in the national market will certainly increase. The leader said that despite a cut, the subsidy remained a heavy burden on public coffers. Reports say it cost the state around 640 billion CFA francs, about $1 billion in 2023, down from over 1,000 billion CFA francs, that's about $1.7 billion in 2022. Meanwhile, the IMF has for years called on Cameroon to reduce its fuel subsidies, which are estimated to reach 2.9% of GDP in 2022. Meanwhile, Sierra Leonean authorities have freed 352 prisoners, including popular rapper Amadou Ba, popularly known as Buzz Large, who was serving a 9-year sentence for robbery. The move follows a New Year's pardon by President Julius Maada Bio, the country's information ministry said. Recall that just over a month ago, more than 20 people were killed and around 2,000 prisoners escaped in an alleged coup attempt. Buzz Large, who was one of the escapees, later handed himself back to prison authorities in the capital, Freetown. The minister said the rapper demonstrated good civic citizenship when he voluntarily returned back to prison. On a foreign scene, Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, has reportedly come under fresh attack by Russian drones, with officials also warning of missile strikes from Moscow. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said explosions could be heard in the city today and that drone wreckage had sparked a fire in the Donetsk district near the center. Klitschko said there were also air alerts in other cities, including Kherson and Mykolaiv. Meanwhile, the mayor of Mykolaiv in southern Ukraine said air defenses had brought down drones in the city, with debris causing a fire. Still on the foreign scene, Moscow said today it had downed 9 missiles fired by Kyiv over Russia's Belgorod border region, as after Russia launched a barrage of missiles at its neighbor. Belgorod has been targeted by Ukraine for months and was the scene of an unprecedented attack last week that killed 25 people. It said the attack happened at around 12 p.m. local time, as 900 GMT. The army later said it downed another 5 missiles of the same type over the region. Belgorod Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov said Ukraine also struck border villages with artillery fire and drones. Meanwhile, Russian strikes on Ukraine's capital Kyiv and the northeastern city of Kharkiv killed at least 5 people. Recall that Russian President Vladimir Putin vowed to intensify strikes in Ukraine. The military campaign has dragged on for nearly 2 years. Elsewhere, a member of parliament from Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's party was at the center of a political storm today after taking a gun to a New Year's Eve party where someone was shot with it. Emmanuel Pozzolo, a lawmaker for Meloni's far-right Brothers of Italy party, has admitted owning the mini revolver, reported to be a .22 caliber North American arms revolver, but says he did not fire it. He said it was discharged by accident, causing a light injury to the leg of a guest, a son-in-law of a bodyguard of a junior justice minister, Andre De Mastro, who was also in attendance. According to reports, the incident at the party in Rosazza, near Turin, which about 30 guests attended, is under investigation, but the story drew astonishment and outrage among opposition politicians. In the meantime, Turkey announced today it had detained 33 people suspected of planning abductions and spying on behalf of Israel's Mossad intelligence service. Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya said the suspects were rounded up in raids across Istanbul and 7 other provinces. It was not immediately clear if they were Israeli nationals or locals allegedly working with Mossad. Meanwhile, Yelinkaya's office released video footage showing armed security service agents breaking down doors and uncovering suspects in their homes. The Istanbul Public Prosecutor's Office said 13 additional suspects remained at large. Still on the foreign scene, Israel launched pre-dawn airstrikes near the Syrian capital today, state media said, citing a military source at a time of heightened regional tensions over the Gaza war. Britain-based War Monitor, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, said Israel had targeted a military position that also housed members of Lebanon's Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah near the town of Kanaka. Israel rarely comments on individual strikes targeting Syria, but it has repeatedly said it will not allow arch foe Iran, which backs President Bashar al-Assad's government, to expand its presence there. Meanwhile, the reported Israeli strikes were the year's first in Syria, where he had intensified attacks in the wake of its war with Palestinian militant group Hamas. During more than a decade of civil war in Syria, Israel has launched hundreds of airstrikes on its territory, primarily targeting Iran-backed forces as well as Syrian army positions. Meanwhile, Japan's transport ministry said 5 people who were on board the Coast Guard plane that collided with a Japan Airlines passenger jet JAL 516 in Tokyo have died, disclosing that the captain escaped but is severely injured. The Japan's Coast Guard said the Coast Guard plane was heading to join the earthquake rescue effort, which killed at least 48 people. Meanwhile, the Japan Airlines said all 379 passengers and crew on board of JAL 516 have been evacuated. It's now time for the latest business and stock market stories.
Thank you, Francis Edet. Good evening and welcome to Business News. I am Blessing Dixon. In the news, crude oil prices rise. Oil prices rose for the first time in 4 sessions amid mounting geopolitical tensions as Iran sent a warship to the Red Sea after the U.S. Navy destroyed 3 Houthi boats. WTI crude futures gained more than 2% to trade above $73 a barrel, and Brent crude was near $78.7 per barrel. Away from that, now to the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin has soared about 5% to above $45,800 to kick off 2024, the highest level since March 2022, and Ether gained more than 3% to $2,400 amid hopes an exchange-traded fund tied to spot Bitcoin will soon be approved by U.S. authorities. Last week, several companies, including BlackRock Asset Management, submitted new documents with regulators showing details of the arrangements each has made with their market makers to ensure trading is liquid and efficient. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission could decide this week if the companies have been cleared to launch the ETF the following week, according to reports. In 2023, Bitcoin gained 156%, its strongest yearly performance since 2020, and Ether increased by 91%. Away from that now, bank lending to households in the Eurozone rose by 0.5% year-on-year to 6.87 trillion euros in November 2023, the slowest pace since May 2015, further confirming the significant slowdown in the bloc's economy during the later months of 2023 in the wake of the European Central Bank's unprecedented tightening measures in recent months. Additionally, lending to companies was unchanged after a 0.3% drop in October. The overall private sector credit growth, encompassing both households and non-financial corporations, was steady at 0.4% in November. Away from that now, in Nigeria, the Stanbic IBTC Bank Nigeria Purchases Managers Index rose to 52.7 points in December 2023 from 48 in November. The latest reading pointed to a renewed expansion in the country's private sector after 2 months of contraction, and one that was the most marked since June. Both output and new orders rebounded, reflecting some signs of recovery in demand. Business activity has also returned to growth despite a continued decline in wholesale and retail activities. Employment saw an increase for the 8th consecutive month, and backlogs of work rose for the 3rd time in the 4 months. Purchasing activity and inventory holdings also expanded. On the cost side, purchase price inflation accelerated to a 2-year high linked to exchange rate weakness and higher fuel costs. Concurrently, selling price inflation quickened to the fastest rate since the survey began in August. Finally, business confidence dropped to its lowest level in a decade-long survey so far. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. Today is the first trading day of the year, and a total of 515.8 million shares in 9,370 deals, corresponding to a market value of 5.573 billion naira, were traded. Compared with the previous trading day of Friday, December 29th, today's data shows 40% improvement in volume, 57% decline in turnover, but 39% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 41.6 trillion naira. 122 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 50 gainers and 18 losers. Infinity Mortgage Bank led the gainers with a 10% share price appreciation, closing at 6 naira 60 kobo per share. On the losing side, Cadbury Nigeria came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 10% at 17 naira 10 kobo per share. Mutual Benefits Assurance recorded the highest volume of 102 million traded shares. This is all in business news. Back to Francis Adet for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thank you, Blessing Dixon. And still to come in the news, Rafael Nadal wins first competitive singles match in a year. Do stay with us.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTime's DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Many thanks for staying with us, and now to the concluding part of the news stories. In health research firm focusing on data that centers around quality of life has ranked Lagos as the 8th city with the best healthcare system in Africa. In the list, number uses an elaborate algorithm to arrive at the decision, which ranked Cape Town in South Africa first, Pretoria second, and Nairobi third. Modern high-tech hospitals are starting to expand in these cities, guaranteeing that the people living there have access to top-notch healthcare, according to an updated health index analysis from Number. African cities are performing well in terms of cost of living, quality of life, and numerous socio-economic characteristics across cities and nations worldwide. Still in health, mental health experts have expressed concern that the shortage of mental health specialists has impeded Nigerians' access to timely and effective mental health care, particularly for those living in rural areas. The psychiatrists lamented that there are only about 300 psychiatrists for a population of over 200 million people in Nigeria, noting that many of those trained in Nigeria have left for better opportunities abroad. The physician disclosed that there is a lack of investment in mental health training programs within the country. He stressed that government needs to invest more in mental health care, including providing more training, funding, and infrastructure development, such as mental health facilities and community support services. Meanwhile, public health physicians have said that pregnant women and other vulnerable Nigerians are coming down with malaria due to climate change, despite strides in expanding access to insecticide-treated nets and medicines to prevent and treat malaria in young children. The physician said there is a nexus between climate change and malaria, insisting that changes in temperature, humidity, and rainfall due to climate change influence the behavior and survival of the malaria-carrying female Anopheles mosquitoes responsible for transmission of malaria. Citing the 2022 deadly flooding in Pakistan, which led to a 5-fold increase in malaria cases in the country, experts said extreme weather events such as heat waves and flooding can directly impact transmission and disease burden. And for the latest sports stories, here is Utwe David.
Hello, good evening and welcome. In sports, Rafael Nadal showed no signs of rust from his year off the hour, winning his return match over former world number 3 Dominic Thiem 7-5, 6-1 at the Brisbane International today. The 22-time major winner hadn't played a singles match at the elite level since the second-round exit at the Australian Open last January. Nadal, who's 37 years of age, made just 6 unforced errors and dropped only 3 points on his serve in the first set. He won 8 of the last 9 games to clinch victory in 89th minutes. Now ranked number 672 and playing on a wild card in Brisbane after a long rehabilitation from a hip injury, Nadal said the past 12 months had been tough, and that, of course, the toughest of his professional career. Moving on, Wayne Rooney has been fired as Birmingham City manager after a run of 9 defeats in 15 games left the team on the brink of the EFL Championship relegation zone. The 38-year-old was appointed on 11 October following the controversial decision to dismiss John Oasters, with Blues 6th on the table, but Rooney suffered 4 defeats in his first 5 games and was unable to arrest the slump that has seen Birmingham City slide down the table. Since then, they have slipped to 20th position. Monday's 3-0 defeat at Leeds having been the 9th defeat of his 15-game tenure. Professional development coach Steve Puna will take interim charge of Birmingham City, who have also parted company with one of Rooney's backroom team, former Wolves and Wales midfielder Carl Robinson. Finally, Tottenham Hotspurs are in advanced talks to sign Genoa's centre-back Radu Dragusin. The 21-year-old is keen on a move to North London, and negotiations over a transfer fee are said to be progressing well. Spurs are looking to sign at least one central defender this month, with head coach Ants Postecoglou hoping for quick business given Christian Romero has joined Mickey van der Ven on the sidelines and is not expected to play again until next month after suffering a hamstring injury. Dragusin is a Romania international with 18 Serie A appearances for Genoa this season, scoring in their final game of 2023 against Inter Milan on December 29. West Ham United are among the clubs monitoring the situation, while the 29-year-old former Sporting Lisbon have been credited with having an interest. And that's all we have for you in sports this evening. I am Utabe David.
Thank you to David. On our entertainment news, Yuli Duce's estranged wife and media personality, May Duce, has penned down her emotions following the tragic loss of her son, Kambili, in 2023. She shared how the past years had been a challenging ride for her, describing it as a series of catastrophic events that left her sad. May Duce spoke on the adversities and misfortunes she faced in 2023, saying that despite dealing with despair, she admitted that she almost gave up but found strength in her faith and learned not to question God's will. Expressing gratitude, May also appreciated the support she received from family, friends, and even strangers, both offline and in the online community. To an entertainment, Mohbad's father, Apostle Olua Bamiwo Aloba, popularly called Omo Jesu, has announced the impending arrival of a new gospel album. The album titled Itunu means comfort, and it is a tribute to his late son Mohbad, who passed away on September 12, 2023 at the age of 27. Mohbad says his father's upcoming album is set to join the long list of tribute songs dedicated to a late Nigerian musician who was one of the street hop's foremost emissaries. Lastly, in the news tonight, music producer and artist Phil's Finesse has earned an RIAA Platinum Plaque, which captures the song's impressive success in the United States. Finesse, featuring Baxing, was released in 2022 as part of the lead singles for Phil's 2023 EP, Feels Good, which ended the year among Nigeria's top 10 EPs with a landmark feat of going platinum in the United States. Phil's joins Wizkid, Burna Boy, Sike, Fireboy, Tems, and Rema's Nigerian music stars to have earned RIAA Platinum Plaque. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You've been watching Spectrum TV News at 9. I am Francis Oima. Many thanks and do enjoy the rest of your evening. Once again, Happy New Year.